Hey everybody, I'm Jamie Purviance. I'm here with my friend David Leite, one of the premier food writers in America, multiple James Beard Award winner, author of The New Portuguese Table, and publisher of leitesculinaria.com.
Yes.
One of my favorite sites. I go there all the time for lots of good information because he knows a lot, though surprisingly, there's a little gap in his sort of culinary repertoire.
In my brain, I don't really grill very well. I kind of have this little lapse in memory, so.
So we're in David's backyard in Connecticut, and I'm going to show him today how to grill steak.
Yes, my favorites, ribeyes.
Beautiful ribeyes, and they're really just a few very simple techniques. Are you ready? I promise in about 10 minutes, you're going to grill like a master.
Okay.
So the first thing is really, of course, the steak itself. You know, you've got to buy good steaks. Ribeyes are wonderful because they have a lot of marbling, a little extra fat that keeps them juicy.
I wonder why I like
even
it so
if you
much.
overdo it a bit. These have a good thickness to them, and to me, that's really important because a great steak, I think, has a great surface and a great interior.
Right.
And if the steak is too thin, by the time you get a great surface, the interior is overcooked.
Cooked all the way through.
All
That
right?
makes it, I've had that happen to me. So.
Well, good. So that's one problem removed. Okay. Buy a nice thick steak. Second thing is to leave them out at room temperature, like in the kitchen, on the counter, for a good 20 or 30 minutes before you're going to grill them.
Okay, now explain something to me, because I get a lot of people, at least Culinaria, writing in and saying, this says leave out till room temperature. That does not mean, correct, that we let it stay out to 70 degrees or 68 degrees,
no,
right?
absolutely not. It just means to take the chill off of it at room temperature.
Right.
Okay, so
got that?
I also like that time for seasoning the meat and oiling it, something I've already done here. Because I find that particularly the salt begins to work a little bit on the meat. You know how salt draws moisture out?
Yes, and yes.
So you don't want to do that, you know, hours ahead of time. You don't want a dry piece of meat, but a little bit of moisture to the surface of the steak is the foundation for an incredibly flavorful crust.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So two things so far, thick cut and salting and leaving out for 20, 30 minutes.
Got that. That's easy.
The next thing is
This is the hard part. Okay. Here's the hard part.
No, it's really very easy. You want to grill over a high temperature to start. That's how you're going to get a good sear on it.
So what's a high temperature?
Well,
What do we got?
we're climbing right now to about 450. 450 to 550 is pretty ideal.
Okay.
Now with this particular grill, you actually have an extra burner.
In the middle, yes.
Yeah, this is something called the sear station. So this middle area of the grill is for getting things really, really hot.
Now, do you do quattrelage?
English? Grill marks?
I got him, everybody.
Grill marks?
Grill marks, we have
Hash marks?
Yeah.
Yes.
Isn't that called quattrelage?
Well, it is now.
It is called
yeah,
quattrelage,
I like that term.
everybody.
I do that, and I will show you how to do it on this grill.
Excellent. How long do you preheat this?
Typically about 10 or 15 minutes.
Okay.
Until it gets to the temperature you want.
Okay.
And that, by the way, is a very good time for cleaning the grill. When it's good and hot, all those little bits and pieces from last
little
night's
bits
dinner.
and bobs, and you do that with the seal brush.
That's right.
Okay.
So we'll let this get good and hot, and then I'll take you to the next step.
Excellent.
So David.
Yes.
Steak goes on the grill.
Beautiful steak.
What do you think you do next? Wait, stop.
Okay.
It was a trick question.
Oh, it was.
The answer is nothing.
Nothing, okay.
Leave it alone, all right? You see that smoke, you hear that sizzle, those are all good things. That means the meat is browning really nicely. The key now is to let the grill do its thing, and it works best with the lid down.
Okay.
All right, all that smoke is being captured now, and it's surrounding the steak. Otherwise, it's drifting off into your neighbor's yard doing you no good whatsoever.
Bringing over stray dogs.
Now, you can take a little peek and see how your browning is looking. Look at
that's
that.
gorgeous.
Right? So this steak is now positioned at what I call 10 o'clock. Imagine there was a face of a clock there. Right. It's facing at 10. You get that? You with me?
Gotcha.
Now, if I move it over here to 2 o'clock,
2 o'clock.
I'm going to create the, what was that term
The
again?
quadrillage.
Ah, mais oui.
Mais oui. Ah, beautiful. Another minute.
Okay, David, so we've seared it on both sides now. Looks great, right?
Beautiful.
If we were to leave it here for another few minutes.
Which many people do.
Which many people do, and they burn it.
Yes, they do.
Right.
That's a good point.
So that's why the sear and slide technique is so wonderful, because
Sear
now
and
you
what?
take
Sear
it,
and slide.
sear and slide it over. These burners are actually off.
Okay.
The heat is now gently circulating the entire steak as opposed to
residual.
blasting it from below. So it really lets the inside of the steak catch up with the outside. So we've got a couple more minutes over indirect heat.
Okay.
There it is, my friend.
And that is a beauty,
A
my friend.
perfectly grilled steak. So I'd say that was pretty easy. What do you think?
It was, but you know, there are some things in the points that you said that I think some people don't remember. So go over them again for me.
Okay.
There's the...
Well, as the meat itself, we want a thick steak.
Yes.
So that we can get a nice sear on the outside and leave the inside juicy.
Okay.
We want to leave it out for a good 15, 20 minutes. Take a chill off of it so it cooks a little bit faster.
And the
salt it during that time so we get a little bit of moisture on the surface. We want to sear it over very high heat to get that crust. And if it's a thick steak like this, we want to finish it over indirect heat.
And that's the magic, I think. A lot of people don't do that. They just keep it over that high heat, and then the flame just disintegrates it.
It's blackens steak in the worst way
incinerates
possible.
it.
Right.
That's what I meant.
So you want to finish it over the indirect heat.
Right.
And then get the doneness down. I mean, that takes a little bit of time. You have to overcook a few steaks and undercook a few before you can really nail it. The key is once you have nailed it, you cut into the steak, it's perfect doneness, to touch the steak and just remember that. Just burn that into your memory. Sear it in, and now you'll always know what sort of firmness you're looking for. And then, you know, give it a few minutes afterward to let those juices redistribute. They all get pushed to the middle of the steak, you know, on the grill, and now you just let them ease back out, and we're left with this thing. Let's give it a taste.
Let's go here. A knife, a fork.
Thank you.
A fork.
All right, let's tear into this thing.
All right.
Let me give you a nice piece here.
Okay. Excellent.
Oh, that's a pretty big one. Can you handle that?
Of course I can, please. You seen my size lately?
Beefy, salty, rich, smoky, caramelized. That's a good steak. Now you know how.